The island of Capri is beefing up security measures on Tuesday ahead of the G7 foreign ministers' meeting. Host Italy's top diplomat Antonio Tajani said on Monday that efforts to end wars in the Middle East and Ukraine will dominate the meeting.
Our international position is very clear. But if our position is strong, it's easier to talk with the others. We are united. This is crucial.
The ministers from major Western powers will present a united front in demanding a ceasefire in Gaza and a de-escalation of tensions between Israel and Iran. On Tuesday, Israel's war cabinet was set to meet for the third time in 3 days, according to an official. It will decide on a response to Iran's first ever direct attack. Iran launched the attack on Saturday in retaliation for an airstrike on its embassy compound in Damascus on April 1st, attributed to Israel. President Joe Biden told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on the weekend that the United States, Israel's main protector, would not participate in an Israeli counterstrike. Together with European allies, Washington strove to toughen economic and political sanctions in an attempt to persuade Israel to abstain from violent retaliation. This highlights a unified position from the West may not bring peace to the Middle East. Tajani also said the West alone could not bring sufficient pressure on Russia to end the Ukraine war. He said it was essential to involve China.
If we want to achieve peace, we need also Chinese engagement. The Chinese are friends of Russia. For this is important, the Chinese engagement for peace.
In Ukraine, the momentum on the battlefield has shifted in Russia's favor. The West is seemingly incapable of providing Kiev with the weaponry it desperately needs. The United States has proposed that the G7 looks at ways of utilizing some $300 billion of sovereign Russian assets held in the West to help Kiev. Diplomatic sources say the US, Canada and Britain want the assets to be seized, but EU nations are reluctant to do so because it would set a dangerous legal precedent.
Coral reefs around the world are turning a ghostly white amid record warm ocean temperatures. The US National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration recently announced grim news.
NOAA is declaring that the world is indeed, in fact, experiencing its fourth global coral bleaching event. Significant severe coral bleaching has been reported in at least 54 countries and territories since February 2023.
Mass coral bleaching events have serious consequences for marine life and for the people and economies that rely on reefs. Let's take a closer look at how global warming affects coral reefs and what the future might hold for these fragile underwater ecosystems. Coral reefs cover just less than 1% of the ocean floor, but they have outsized benefits for marine ecosystems and economies. A quarter of marine life depends on reefs for shelter and food. Every year, coral reefs provide about $2.7 trillion in goods and services, from tourism to coastal protection. That's according to a 2020 estimate by the Global Coral Reef Monitoring Network. About $36 billion is generated by snorkeling and scuba diving tourists alone. Corals have faced harsher high temperatures in 2024 than ever before, according to scientists. And when water temperatures rise, corals get stressed. They cope by expelling the colorful algae living in their tissues, causing them to turn bone white. However, not all bleached corals die, as ecologist David Obura explained.
So bleaching is like a fever in humans. We get a fever to resist a disease, and if the disease is not too much, we recover. But if it is too much, we die as a result.
Scientists say the best chance for coral survival is for the world to cut greenhouse gas emissions to limit climate change. But at just 1.2 degrees Celsius of warming above pre-industrial level, some scientists think the world has already passed a key threshold for coral reef survival. They expect between 70% and 90% of the world's coral reefs will be lost. Scientists and conservationists are scrambling to intervene. Conservationists are bringing coral larvae into cryopreservation banks and breeding corals with more resilient traits.